a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Charles Aznavour. Charles Aznavour was a French-Armenian singer, lyricist, and diplomat. Aznavour was known for his distinctive tenor voice, clear and ringing in its upper reaches, with gravelly and profound low notes. In a career spanning over 70 years, he recorded more than 1,200 songs interpreted in 9 languages. He wrote or co-wrote more than 1,000 songs for himself and others. Aznavour was one of France's most popular and enduring singers. He sold 180 million records during his lifetime and was dubbed France's Frank Sinatra, while music critic Stephen Holden described Aznavour as a French pop deity. He was also arguably the most famous Armenian of his time. In 1998, Aznavour was named Entertainer of the Century by CNN and users of Time Online from around the globe. He was recognized as the century's outstanding performer, with nearly 18% of the total vote, edging out Elvis Presley and Bob Dylan. Jean Cocteau said, before Aznavour, despair was unpopular. Aznavour sang for presidents, popes and royalty, as well as at humanitarian events, in response to the 1988 Armenian earthquake. He founded the charitable organization Aznavour for Armenia along with his longtime friend impresario Levon Cheyenne. In 2009, he was appointed ambassador of Armenia to Switzerland, as well as Armenia's permanent delegate to the United Nations at Geneva. He started his most recent tour in 2014. On the 24th of August 2017, Aznavour was awarded the 2,618th star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Later that year he and his sister were awarded the Raoul Wallenberg Award for sheltering Jews during World War II. His last concert took place in NHK Hall in Osaka on the 19th of September 2018. Early life and family. Aznavour was born at the Clinique Tania at 89, Rue d'Assas in Saint-Germain-des-Prés, 6th arrondissement of Paris, into a family of artists living on Rue Monsieur le Prince. He was named Shanavagonak Aznavourian by his parents, Armenian immigrants Michael Aznavourian and Kanar Bagdasaryan, an Armenian from Smyrna. His father sang in restaurants in France before establishing a Caucasian restaurant called Le Caucus. Charles' parents introduced him to performing at an early age, and he dropped out of school at age 9 and took the stage name Aznavour. World War II. During the German occupation of France during World War II, Aznavour and his family hid a number of people who were persecuted by the Nazis, while Charles and his sister Aida were involved in rescue activities. Their work was recognized in a statement issued in 2017 by Reuven Rivlin, President of Israel. That year, Aznavour and Aida received the Raoul Wallenberg Award for their wartime activities. The Aznavours were closely linked to the Missak-Manouchian resistance group, and in this context they have offered shelter to Armenians, Jews, and others at their own Paris flat, risking their own lives. Musical career. Aznavour was already familiar with performing on stage by the time he began his career as a musician. At the age of 9, he had roles in a play called Un Petit Diable à Paris and a film entitled La Guerre des Gosses. Aznavour then turned to professional dancing and performed in several nightclubs. In 1944, he and actor Pierre Roche began a partnership and in collaborative efforts performed in numerous nightclubs. It was through this partnership that Aznavour began to write songs and sing. The partnership's first successes were in Canada in 1948 and 1950. Meanwhile, Aznavour wrote his first song entitled J'aimais in 1950. During the early stages of his career, Aznavour opened for Edith Piaf at the Moulin Rouge. Piaf then advised him to pursue a career in singing. Piaf helped Aznavour develop a distinctive voice that stimulated the best of his abilities. Sometimes described as France's Frank Sinatra, Aznavour sang frequently about love. He wrote or co-wrote musicals, more than 1,000 songs, and recorded 91 studio albums. Aznavour's voice was shaded towards the tenor range, but possessed the low range and coloration more typical of a baritone. Contributing to his unique sound, Aznavour spoke and sang in many languages, which helped him perform at Carnegie Hall, in the USA, and other major venues around the world. He also recorded at least one song from the 18th century Armenian poet Sayat Nova, and a popular song, Imiara in Armenian. Case Triste Venice, sung in French, Italian, Spanish, English, and German. Was very successful the mid-1960s. In 1974 Aznavour became a major success in the United Kingdom when his song, She, was number 1 on the UK singles chart for 4 weeks during a 14-week run. His other well-known song in the UK was the 1973, The Old-Fashioned Way, which was on UK charts for 15 weeks. Artists who have recorded his songs and collaborated with Aznavour include Edith Piaf, Fred Astaire, Frank Sinatra, Andrea Bocelli, Bing Crosby, Ray Charles, Bob Dylan, Dusty Springfield, Liza Minnelli, Mia Martini, Elton John, Dalida, Serge Gainsbourg, Josh Groban, Petula Clark, Tom Jones, Shirley Bassey, Jose Carreras, Laura Pausini, Nana Mouskouri, and Julio Iglesias. Fellow French pop singer Mireille Mathieu sang and recorded with Aznavour on numerous occasions. Mark Harmon, the English singer, was noted by Aznavour as his favorite interpretator of his songs, having covered Aznavour's What Makes a Man, in the 1990s. Harmon citing Aznavour as a major influence on his style and work. 1974, Jack Jones recorded an entire album of Aznavour compositions entitled Write Me a Love Song, Charlie, re-released on CD in 2006. 2 years later, Dutch singer Lisbeth List released her album Charles Aznavour Presents Lisbeth List, which featured Aznavour's compositions with English lyrics. Aznavour and Italian tenor Luciano Pavarotti sang Gounod's aria, Ave Maria. Together, he performed with Russian cellist and friend Mstislav Rostropovich to inaugurate the French presidency of the European Union in 1995. Elvis Costello recorded She for the film Notting Hill. One of Aznavour's greatest friends and collaborators from the music industry was Spanish operatic tenor Plácido Domingo, who often performs his hits, most notably a solo studio recording of Le Bateau Sont Partis in 1985 and duet versions of the song in French and Spanish in 2008, as well as multiple live renditions as Aznavour's Ave Maria. In 1994, Aznavour performed with Domingo and Norwegian soprano Sissel Kyrkjebø at Domingo's third annual Christmas in Vienna concert. The three singers performed a variety of carols, medleys, and duets, and the concert was televised throughout the world, as well as released on a CD internationally. At the start of autumn 2006, Aznavour initiated his farewell tour, performing in the US and Canada, and earning very positive reviews. Aznavour started 2007 with concerts all over Japan and Asia. The second half of 2007 saw Aznavour return to Paris for over 20 shows at the Palais des Congrès in Paris, followed by more touring in Belgium, the Netherlands, and the rest of France. Aznavour had repeatedly stated that this farewell tour, health permitting, would likely last beyond 2010. After that, however, Charles Aznavour continued performing worldwide throughout the year. At 94, 60 years on stage made him a little hard of hearing. In his final years he would still sing in multiple languages and without persistent use of teleprompters, but typically he would stick to just 2 or 3 during most concerts. On the 30th of September 2006, Aznavour performed a major concert in Yerevan, the capital of Armenia, to start off the cultural season. Armenie Mon Ami, Armenian President Robert Kachalyan, and French President Jacques Chirac, at the time on an official visit to Armenia, were in front-row attendance. In 2006, Aznavour recorded his album Colore Ma Vie in Cuba, with Chucho Valdez, a regular guest vocalist on Star Academy. Aznavour sang alongside contestant Cyril Sinalou that same year. In 2007, he sang part of Untitled Chapter in Russian during a Moscow concert. Later, in July 2007, Aznavour was invited to perform at the Vyhrus Festival. Forever Cool, an album from Capital/Shermy, features Aznavour singing a new duet of Everybody Loves Somebody Sometime, with the voice of Dean Martin. Aznavour finished a tour of Portugal in February 2008. Throughout the spring of 2008, Aznavour toured South America, holding a multitude of concerts in Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and Uruguay. An admirer of Quebec, where he played in Montreal cabarets before becoming famous, he helped the career of Quebecois singer-lyricist Linda Lemay in France, and had a house in Montreal. On the 5th of July 2008, he was invested as an honorary officer of the Order of Canada. He performed the following day on the Plains of Abraham as a feature of the celebration of the 400th anniversary of the founding of Quebec City. In 2008, an album of duos, was released. It is a collaborative effort featuring Aznavour and his greatest friends and partners from his long career in the music industry, including Celine Dion, Sting, Laura Pausini, Josh Groban, Paul Anka, Placido Domingo, and many others. It was released on various dates in December 2008 across the world. His next album, Charles Aznavour and the Clayton Hamilton Jazz Orchestra, is a continuation in the same vein as his hit album Aznavour, released in 1998, involving new arrangements on his classic songs with the jazz orchestra and other guest jazz artists. It was released on the 27th of November 2009. Aznavour and Senegalese singer Youssou N'Dour, with the collaboration of over 40 French singers and musicians, recorded a music video with the music group Band Aid in the aftermath of the catastrophic 2010 Haiti earthquake, titled One Geste pour Haïti Chérie. In 2009, Aznavour also toured across America. The tour, named Aznavour en Liberté, started in late April 2009 with a wave of concerts across the United States and Canada, took him across Latin America in the autumn, as well as the USA once again. In August 2011, Aznavour released a new album, Aznavour Toujours, featuring 11 new songs, and Elle, a French reworking of his greatest international hit, She. Following the release of Aznavour Toujours, then 87-year-old Aznavour began a tour across France and Europe, named Charles Aznavour en toute intimité, which started with 21 concerts in the Olympia Theatre in Paris. On the 12th of December 2011, he gave a concert in Moscow State Kremlin Palace that attracted a capacity crowd. The concert was followed by a standing ovation which continued for about 15 minutes. In 2012, Aznavour embarked on a new North American leg of his En toute intimité tour, visiting Quebec and the Gibson Amphitheatre in Los Angeles, the third largest such venue in California, for multiple shows. The shows in New York were cancelled following a contract dispute. On the 16th of August 2012, Aznavour performed in his father's birthplace, Sikh, in Georgia in a special concert as part of the opening ceremony of the recently restored Rabati Castle. On the 25th of October 2013, Aznavour performed in London for the first time in 25 years at the Royal Albert Hall. Demand was so high that a second concert at the Royal Albert Hall was scheduled for June 2014. In November 2013, Aznavour appeared with Ikono Mnini in a concert dedicated to peace at the Nokia Arena in Tel Aviv. The audience, including Israeli President Shimon Peres, sang along. In December 2013, Aznavour gave 2 concerts in the Netherlands at the Heineken Music Hall in Amsterdam, and again in January 2016. In 2014, 2015, and 2016, Aznavour continued his international tour, including concerts in Brussels, Berlin, Frankfurt, Barcelona, Madrid, Warsaw, Prague, Moscow, Bucharest, Antwerp, London, Dubai, Montreal, New York, Boston, Miami, Los Angeles, Osaka, Tokyo, Lisbon, Marbella, Monaco, Verona, Amsterdam, and Paris. In 2017 and 2018, his tour continued in Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, Santiago, Buenos Aires, Moscow, Vienna, Perth, Sydney, Melbourne, and Haiti, Tokyo, Osaka, Madrid, Milano, Rome, St. Petersburg, Paris, London, Amsterdam, and Monaco. On the 19th of September 2018, what was to be his last concert took place in NHK Hall, Osaka. Film appearances. C. Filmography. Aznavour had a long and varied parallel career as an actor, appearing in over 80 films and TV movies. In 1960, Aznavour starred in François Truffaut's Tirer sur le pianiste, playing a character called Edouard Soroyan. He also put in a critically acclaimed performance in the 1974 movie And Then There Were None. Aznavour had an important supporting role in 1979's The Tin Drum, winner of the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film in 1980. He co-starred in Claude Chabrol's Les Fantômes du Chapelier. In the 1984 version of Die Fledermaus, he appears and performs as one of Prince Orlovsky's guests. This version stars Chiarite Carnawa and was directed by Placido Domingo in the Royal Opera House at Covent Garden. Aznavour starred in the 2002 movie Ararat playing Edward Soroyan, a movie director. Armenian activism. Since the 1988 Armenian earthquake, Aznavour helped the country through his charity, Aznavour for Armenia. Together with his brother-in-law and co-author Georges Garvarents, he wrote the song, Pour toi Arménie, which was performed by a group of famous French artists and topped the charts for 18 weeks. There is a square named after him in central Yerevan on Abovian Street, and a statue erected in Gyumri, which saw the most lives lost in the earthquake. In 1995, Aznavour was appointed an ambassador and permanent delegate of Armenia to UNESCO. Aznavour was a member of the Armenia Fund International Board of Trustees. The organization has rendered more than $150 million in humanitarian aid and infrastructure development assistance to Armenia since 1992. He was appointed as officier of the Légion d'honneur in 1997. In 2002, Aznavour appeared in director Atam Egoyan's acclaimed film Ararat, about the genocide of Armenians in the Ottoman Empire in the early 20th century. In 2004, Aznavour received the title of National Hero of Armenia, Armenia's highest award. On the 26th of December 2008, President of Armenia Sargsyan signed a presidential decree for granting citizenship for the Republic of Armenia to Aznavour, whom he called a prominent singer and public figure, and a hero of the Armenian people. In 2011, the Charles Aznavour Museum opened in Yerevan, Armenia. In April 2016, Aznavour visited Armenia to participate in the Aurora Prize award ceremony. On the 24th of April, along with Sargsyan, the Catholicos of all Armenians, His Holiness Gregin II and actor George Clooney, he laid flowers at the Armenian Genocide Memorial. Along with holding the mostly ceremonial title of French ambassador at large to Armenia, Aznavour agreed to hold the position of ambassador of Armenia to Switzerland on the 12th of February 2009. First I hesitated, as it is not an easy task. Then I thought that what is important for Armenia is important for us. I have accepted the proposal with love, happiness and feeling of deep dignity. He wrote a song about the Armenian genocide, entitled Ils sont tombés. Political involvement. Aznavour was increasingly involved in French, Armenian and international politics as his career progressed. During the 2002 French presidential elections, when far-right nationalist Jean-Marie Le Pen of the National Front made it into the runoff election, facing incumbent Jacques Chirac, Aznavour signed the Vive la France petition and called on all French to sing the Marseillaise in protest. Chirac, a personal friend of Aznavour's, ended up winning in a landslide, carrying over 82% of the vote. He frequently campaigned for international copyright law reform. In November 2005, he met with President of the European Commission José Manuel Barroso on the issue of the review of term of protection for performers and producers in the EU. advocating an extension of the EU's term of protection from the current 50 years to the United States law allowing 95 years, saying, "On term of protection, artists and record companies are of the same mind. Extension of term of protection would be good for European culture, positive for the European economy, and would put an end to current discrimination with the US." He also notably butted heads with French politician Christine Bouton over her defense of a global license, flat fee authorization for sharing of copyrighted files over the Internet, claiming that the license would eliminate creativity. In May 2009, the French Senate approved one of the strictest Internet anti-piracy bills ever with a landslide 189-14 vote. Aznavour was a vocal proponent of the measure and considered it a rousing victory. "If the youth can't make a living through creative work, they will do something else and the artistic world will be dealt a blow. There will be no more songs, no more books. Nothing at all. So we had to fight." Legacy. His musicality and fame abroad had a significant impact on many areas of pop culture. Aznavour's name inspired the name of the character Char Aznavour by Yoshiyuki Tomino in his 1979 mecha anime series, Mobile Suit Gundam. His song, Parquet K2 Cross, was sampled by producer Dr. Dre for the song, What's the Difference, from his album 2001. He was mentioned in the psychedelic Furs song, Sister Europe. The Kamal Montano song, Stevie Kayo Aznavour, and the Jonathan Richman song, Give Paris One More Chance. "I like Charles Aznavour a lot," said Bob Dylan. "I saw him in 60-something at Carnegie Hall, and he just blew my brains out." In August 2017, he was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In 1990, he offered insights into his life to writer-director Michael Feeney Callan in the TV series My Riviera, which was filmed at and around Aznavour's home in Port Grimaud, in the south of France. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?